Hello Year 2 and welcome back to our channel. I hope you are all well and I hope you are all keeping safe. So today I'm going to read you one of my favourite books. It's called I'll Take You to Mrs. Cole and it's written by Nigel Gray and Michael Foreman. I hope you are all sitting comfortably. When my mum came in from work and I hadn't got the table laid, she said, "If you can't do what you're told, I'll take you to Mrs. Cole." Mrs. Cole lives down the street, in a dirty house, in a noisy house, with lots of kids under her feet. When my mum came in from work and I'd been playing battleships in the bath and had flooded the floor of the flat, she said, "Put on your hat and coat. I'm taking you to Mrs. Cole." I put on my hat and coat and waited outside the door. I wondered what it would be like at Mrs. Cole's. Perhaps her kids had no toys, no clothes, no telly, no treats. Perhaps she made them do dusting and polishing and washing the floor and whipped them when they fell asleep. Perhaps she gave them nothing to eat except cabbage and curly kale. Perhaps she kept them locked in a dark and dismal dungeon with green slimy walls. Perhaps she fed them to her favourite pets, boa constrictors, alligators and piranha fish. Then Mum told me to take off my coat and come back in. "I'll let you off this time," she said, "but next time you're bad, I'm taking you to Mrs. Cole's." When my mum came in from work and I had broken the window with my very bouncy ball, she said, "Put on your hat and coat. I'm taking you to Mrs. Cole." I followed her down the damp, dark street. We crossed the road and stood outside Mrs. Cole's gate. The lights were on all over the house. There was music playing. Thump, dee waddy 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 thump. I could see Mrs. Cole inside the window. She was fat and her face was red. She had a baby in her arm. She was stirring a wooden spoon in a great big pan, round and round, round and round. Perhaps she's going to boil the baby, I thought. Perhaps she's going to make her children into stew. "All right," my mum said, "I'll let you off this time. Come on home with me, but next time you're bad, I'm taking you to Mrs. Cole." Next day was Saturday. My mum had to go to work. "Do the washing up," she said, "and make the beds, then get the shopping. I've left a list. And make sure the table's laid before I get home for dinner. And don't be doing any damage. I'll take you to Mrs. Cole." After she had gone, the flat was quiet and lonely and cold. I looked at the dirty breakfast dishes on the table. I looked at the crumpled bed sheets on the bed. I decided to run away. I went into the misty street. People bustled by with shopping bags. No one noticed me. A car drove through a puddle and splashed dirty water up my legs. I crossed the road. I stood outside Mrs. Cole's house. The gate was hanging from one rusty hinge. Weeds filled the front garden taller than me. It was like a jungle from a Tarzan movie. The paint was scraped off the floor, off the door, and there was a piece of cardboard where the glass should be. The lights were on all over the house, even though it was daytime. There was music blaring and a dog barking and children shouting. Mrs. Cole was still in the window. I could see her making toast and frying eggs. She still carried the baby in her arm. So she hadn't boiled it after all. I stood waiting on the grim grey street. I wanted to run away, but I didn't know where to go. Then Mrs. Cole came. "Hello, me lover," she said. "What are you doing out here in the cold without your coat?" "You'll catch your death." She was big and red, with straggly hair and a scruffy cardigan and a great big smile. "I'm running away from home," I said. "Running away from home?" said Mrs. Cole. "Does your mother know?" "No," I said. "My mum's at work." "Would you best come in then, me lover," she said, "and I'll get you warmed through." I wondered if this was a trick, if Mrs. Cole was really a child catcher by trade. And once I stepped inside, her warm smile would vanish and a net would drop on me from the ceiling, and no one would ever know where I'd gone. But the street was cold. Mrs. Cole smelled of bacon and her house looked warm. She took my hand and we went inside. In the hall there was a pile of dirty washing, a broken pram, half a scooter, a pajama leg, and 3 shoes, 1 red, 1 brown, 1 blue. In the kitchen at the table was a big boy with a small boy on his head. There were 3 cats among the dishes on the table and 1 on the windowsill who watched the goldfish swimming in the tank. A terrapin sat on a stone and stretched his neck. In the corner, a black cat, lazy, dozing in a cardboard box, while 4 puppies were feeding from her teats. 2 cages hung from the ceiling. In one was a yellow canary who sang. In the other, 2 budgies, 1 blue, 1 green, who chirruped and kissed. On an old settee, a girl and a boy were eating toast, talking with their mouths full and dropping crumbs, but Mrs. Cole never told them off. The baby lay on the settee without a nappy on, kicking its legs. A little girl without any knickers tottered around the kitchen floor. The oven door was open and the oven was on to make the kitchen warm. Mrs. Cole sang a song with a singer on the radio and it didn't give her a headache. She made me a bacon butty and a cup of tea. "How many sugars?" she said. "3, I said, and she gave me 3. My mum only lets me have 1. "Mum," said the girl on a settee, spraying crumbs all over the room. "Polly's done a piddle on the floor." Mrs. Cole got a cloth and wiped it up, and she never stopped from singing the song that she sang. There was shouting and squealing and bumping down the stairs. A girl ran in, chased by a boy. They fell in a heap on the kitchen floor. The girl shrieked, "Mum, Mum, Michael's tickling me." "Stop him, Mum." "Leave her alone," said Mrs. Cole. "I'll hold you down and let her tickle you." "But she won't feed the rabbits, Mum, and they'll starve to death." "It's not my turn." "It is, it is." "Well, me and Polly will feed the rabbits," said Mrs. Cole. "Won't we, Polly, me lover? And you 2 can do them tomorrow." Today you've got a new friend to play with. When he's finished his tea, take him with you and treat him nice. I played all day with Mary and Michael, and they came and helped me do my housework. When I was going home, Mrs. Cole said, "Come back and play, me lover, any time you like." Nowadays, Mum says, if you're good, you can go and play at Mrs. Cole's, because at Mrs. Cole's, they always treat me nice. Oop. And that's the end of that book. I hope you all enjoyed that book as much as I do, and I really hope I get to see you soon. Until then, take care and stay safe. Bye, Year 2.